Ever wonder why some guys just seem to attract women without even trying, while others struggle no matter what they do? The secret isn't luck. It's about knowing the right balance between being nice and being confident. Most men fall into one of two traps. They're either the nice guy, always available, always saying yes, and unfortunately, always stuck in the friend zone. Or they go too far the other way, acting like a bad boy, cold, distant, and constantly cycling through short-term flings. But what if I told you there's a third way? A way to become the kind of guy women are naturally drawn to and deeply connect with. This isn't about tricks or playing games. It's about understanding how attraction really works so you can be a man who stands out. Today, I'll show you how to master the balance of confidence and kindness, the kind of guy who earns both respect and love. By the time we're done, you'll have a clear understanding of what actually makes a man attractive and how you can apply it in your own life. Being a nice guy sounds great in theory. You treat her well, always say yes, and make sure she knows you care. But here's the harsh truth. Being too nice can make you seem weak or predictable. Women don't want a doormat. They want a man they can admire and respect. When you always put her needs first, she stops seeing you as a challenge. And attraction thrives on challenge. If she knows you'll always be available, she won't value your time. The more you chase her, the more she pulls away. That's why many nice guys find themselves stuck in the friend zone, because they give too much without inspiring real attraction. Nice guys also struggle because they assume being overly kind will naturally lead to romance. But attraction doesn't work that way. Women want kindness, but they also want excitement, a bit of unpredictability, and a man who isn't afraid to say no when needed. On the other side, you have the bad boy. He's confident, mysterious, and doesn't care what anyone thinks. Women are naturally drawn to his confidence, but the problem is, bad boys often lack emotional depth. Sure, they can spark excitement, but their relationships tend to be short-lived. Why? Because eventually, a woman realizes that a guy who never shows kindness or care isn't worth investing in. She may chase him at first, but she won't stay. No one wants to feel like they don't matter. A bad boy might get attention in the beginning, but over time, his inability to connect emotionally pushes women away. He's fun, but he's not reliable, and reliability matters more than temporary thrills. So what's the solution? You don't need to be a pushover, and you don't need to be heartless. The key is to be a man who is kind, but not a doormat, confident, but not arrogant, loving, but with boundaries. A high-value man knows how to lead, set boundaries, and still be thoughtful. He can show love, but he doesn't overdo it to the point of desperation. He's reliable, but not predictable. He's strong, but not controlling, and most importantly, he respects himself, which makes others respect him too. Before we continue, I'd really appreciate your support. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, and every single one counts. If you're enjoying this so far, take a second to subscribe. It's free and helps a lot. Thanks. Now let's move on. Attraction isn't just about looks or status, it's about how people perceive you. Human brains naturally focus on exceptions. If you're always nice, that kindness becomes invisible. But if you're mostly confident and independent, an occasional act of kindness stands out. Think about it. If you're constantly giving, people start expecting it. But when someone who is usually reserved suddenly does something thoughtful, it feels special. That's why unpredictable, high-value men hold more power in relationships than guys who overdo kindness. This is true for all social interactions, not just dating. If you always agree with people, they take it for granted. But if you challenge them or say no sometimes, they value your approval more. Women respect men who have opinions and aren't afraid to stand their ground. Ever wonder why some women stay hooked on men who aren't fully available? It's because uncertainty builds attraction. Studies show that unpredictability triggers dopamine, the brain's pleasure chemical. That's why games, gambling, and even social media notifications keep people addicted. The same principle applies to relationships. A guy who is too predictable, texting good morning every day, always agreeing, never challenging, quickly loses his appeal. But a man who keeps things interesting by being playful, teasing, or occasionally unavailable creates excitement. This doesn't mean playing mind games or ignoring her. It simply means being a man who has his own life, his own ambitions, and doesn't make a woman his entire world. When she's not sure what you'll do next, in a fun way, she stays emotionally invested. The secret is balance. Be consistent in your respect, but unpredictable in your behavior. Keep her guessing, not about your loyalty, but about the experience of being with you. That's what keeps attraction alive. One of the biggest differences between a high-value man and a nice guy is communication. Many men think they have to be overly polite or avoid disagreements to keep a woman happy, but women respect men who speak their minds confidently. Being assertive doesn't mean being rude. It means saying what you think and setting boundaries. If something bothers you, speak up. If you don't agree with her, don't just nod along, express your perspective. A woman will never respect a man who doesn't respect himself enough, to be honest. Being kind isn't the problem. The problem is being too available. If you're constantly bending over backward for her, your kindness loses value. Instead, make sure your kindness is earned and appreciated. For example, instead of texting her every morning, surprise her with a thoughtful message every now and then. Instead of constantly complimenting her, save it for moments when it truly matters. This way, your kind gestures stand out and feel meaningful. Women appreciate attention, but only when it's balanced. Give too much, and she'll take it for granted. Give too little, and she may feel ignored. The trick is to be present, but not predictable. If you always reply instantly, mix it up. If you always initiate plans, let her reach out sometimes. This keeps the dynamic fresh and prevents your attention from losing its impact. Women often test men by asking for favors. If you always say yes, she may start to see you as weak. Learn to say no when necessary. If she values you, she'll respect your time and effort more. By applying these strategies, you'll naturally create a balance between confidence and kindness, making you irresistible. A truly irresistible man isn't just confident, he understands emotions, both his own and others. This emotional intelligence allows him to handle situations with maturity, maintain attraction, and build deep connections. It all starts with knowing yourself. How do you react when things don't go your way? Do you get overly emotional, or do you stay calm and collected? Women are naturally drawn to men who can stay composed under pressure. If you let your emotions control you, whether it's jealousy, frustration, or insecurity, you lose respect. Instead, recognize your emotions, control your reactions, and always act from a place of self-respect. Confidence without empathy turns into arrogance. The key to real connection is making a woman feel understood. That doesn't mean being overly emotional. It means listening actively. Instead of always offering solutions, just acknowledge her feelings. I get why that upset you. Or, that sounds frustrating. Women love men who can balance strength with emotional depth. Every situation is different. A smart man knows when to be serious and when to joke, when to push forward and when to step back. If you're too rigid, women will feel suffocated. Being adaptable shows emotional maturity. It proves you're confident enough to handle whatever life throws at you. Master these 3 skills, and you'll not only attract women, you'll keep them wanting more. Even when trying to balance kindness and confidence, many men make mistakes that hurt their chances with women. Here are 3 common pitfalls and how to avoid them. 1. Overcompensation. Many men, after realizing that being too nice doesn't work, swing too far in the opposite direction. They try to act overly tough, show no emotion, or treat women with indifference. This backfires because it makes them seem either fake or just plain unpleasant. The key is balance. Confidence doesn't mean being cold. Women are drawn to men who are strong yet capable of showing warmth when it matters. If you shift from being a nice guy to being an emotionless bad boy, you'll only end up pushing women away. 2. Inconsistency. One of the worst things you can do is send mixed signals. If one day you're confident and engaging, but the next you're unsure and needy, she won't know who you really are. This creates doubt and lowers attraction. Women respect men who are consistent. That doesn't mean being boring, it means being emotionally stable. If you show confidence, stick to it. If you set a boundary, don't break it just because she tests you. Show her that you're steady and reliable, no matter the situation. 3. Ignoring feedback. A high-value man pays attention to how women respond to him. If multiple women pull away, flake on plans, or lose interest, something is off. Instead of blaming them, take a step back and ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? Improvement comes from awareness. Observe what works, what doesn't, and adjust accordingly. The smartest men evolve, and that's what keeps them winning in the long run. Attracting women isn't about playing mind games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about finding the right balance between confidence and kindness. Women aren't drawn to men who constantly seek approval, but they also don't stay with men who act distant and emotionally unavailable. The secret is to be strong, self-assured, and capable of kindness, but only when it's valued. If you've been struggling in your relationships, it's probably because you've been either too predictable or too detached. Women need to feel excited and engaged in a relationship, and that happens when they're with a man who respects himself, sets boundaries, and brings a little unpredictability into the dynamic. Confidence isn't about acting tough or suppressing emotions. It's about knowing your worth, standing by your decisions, and not letting fear of rejection dictate your actions. Now, if you start applying what you've learned today, you'll notice something interesting. The way women respond to you will shift. You'll no longer feel like you have to chase their attention. Instead, they'll start to see you as someone worth their time and effort, not because you played tricks, but because you became a man they naturally desire. Before you go, I have one small request. If this video helped you, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I put a lot of effort into making these, and your support really means a lot. Also, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What's the biggest mistake you think men make when it comes to women? Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.